Good day, guys. Coming to you today. I'm going to share with you a little grandmother's trick on fixing green beans. Just a pot of cooked green beans. And just show you a little trick that she used. And these that I've got on, there's some came out of the garden. I managed to can some, but I done my last batch in pints, so I had some left over. So I just thought I'd put these on and cook them separate. That noise you hear is the coffee maker in the background, so you know what that is. But anyway, these have been cooking for roughly about 2 hours, I think. And usually when they get down to that level, that's when I'm going to add the grandmother trick that I'm going to tell you about. Some people will use a little bit of sugar in their green beans. You know, if that's what you like. I typically don't do that. I have done it, but I don't know. It's not my grandmother's green beans. And you know, you always can add salt, which I may do that here in just a minute. Uh, but we've added stuff like potatoes or diced carrots. Uh, you know, and so far as the seasoning, you could season it with a little slice of fatback meat, bacon grease that you save. You know, some people will use olive oil, and we have did this before, is dice up just a little bit of onion and a little bit of olive oil and add that to the beans. And you know, that's something that can be done in addition to what I'm going to show you today. So anyway, let's get started, and I'll show you what Before I get started in this, guys, I thought I'd show you what I've worked on this week. We've got 9 pints of green beans, so that gives me a total of 14 quarts and 9 pints. So I'm happy with that. That came off of those 2 little rows out there in that garden. And then we got some squash. I've got 5 quarts of squash that I can. So, and I've still got some left from last year. So, tickled with that. I've got to get my bands off and wash that up, get that ready to store. So, let's go back over to the stove. Okay, guys. If you see right here, we've got some okra that came out of the garden. And this is the simple little trick that I'm going to do. We'll do this Justin Wilson style. I'm going to put roughly a teaspoon, maybe a little heavier than that, salt in there, and just let that simmer down. But I'm going to place this okra in. Now, this is not going to be mixed into the green beans. I'm going to take this out when this is done. Of course, I'll bring you back and show you that. This is a lengthy process, guys. When you cook green beans, like my grandmother and pretty much her generation did, it's an all-day process if you're going to do it right. So, put the lid back on. And guys, this will probably simmer another hour, maybe 2 hours at least. I don't know, at least another hour. But I want the okra to be done, and then once it's done, I'm going to turn the burner off. And I'm going to let this cool down. And the goal is this liquid that's in this pot, my grandmother referred to it as cooking down. You want to cook as much of the liquid out where you just have green beans left. That's what gives them, because when it does that, it drives the flavor into the bean, and you want to keep the lid on your pot too. That was another thing, and you don't want to be taking it off no more than you have to, because when you do that, flavor escapes. So that, or at least that was her view on that. So I'm going to let these simmer for probably another hour, an hour and a half, 2 hours, I don't know, something like that. And then I'll be back when I'm done. And this is cooled down. Should be ready for Sunday dinner. So anyway, guys, I'll see you in a little while. Thank you. Okay, guys, back now. what we're going to do, I just take me a fork. This has had plenty of time to cool down. If you mess with it while it's hot, it will do is most likely to come apart with you. And I just take a fork, grab it right at the stem, and lift it out. Put it in a separate bowl. And like I said earlier, plenty of time. Allow yourself plenty of time. This is a lengthy process. I would say an entire day of work here. What I will do with that okra, I'll just cover it up. And you see how this is what I love to see. Those beans kind of wrinkle up just a little bit. They turn dark. There's still just a little bit of liquid, not a lot, but that's good. And you know, you can put any kind of seasoning, you know, whether it's olive oil and onion or just olive oil, or if you want to put a little bacon grease, fat back meat, however you want to do it. That's totally up to you. But this gives it an added touch that, guys, I can't explain. The beans will not be slimy at all, but they will take on the flavor of that okra. The okra will still remain tasting just like boiled okra if you like that. But guys, this is a grandmother trick that I wanted to show you. I hope you find this interesting, and I encourage you to give it a try. This is an entire process that's probably got roughly about, and don't pay no attention to that clock because this is actually spread out between 2 days. I actually cooked these beans yesterday and put them in the refrigerator overnight, and this is actually a different day, that the next day that I'm starting. So this is probably a process right here that I would have, if I was going to do it in one day, I would allow at least 8 to 12 hours. You want to cook them a good 2 hours, then add your okra, cook it another hour, hour and a half. I think they probably cooked around an hour and a half. I didn't really watch it that close. But the main thing, I don't want it to boil dry, plumb dry. And then once the okra is done, cut it off, let it cool, and you can, once it cools, you can get the okra out. These can be reheated and served just like they are, and you're ready to go. So guys, it's been a busy time. I've got probably close to a bushel of tomatoes, believe it or not, off of my tomato plants that I've got to can. I've got some more squash over there. I've just got tons of stuff, and it's a busy time right now. So my plate's full, and I thank the Lord for that. Guys, I'm going to get off of here. Y'all have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you the next time. Thank you, guys, from Little NC Farmer.